when it's all on the line, they find ways to lose games. All it takes is one time, though, to fix that. A&M may have done that against Notre Dame. I've seen one team come through when your nuts are on the line, and I've seen the other team curl up in a ball and cry and just hope the storm passes. Yeah. And I can't get that image out of my head. Auburn goes on the road to play Texas A&M. We have a full preview in what is a massive game for both teams, so make sure you're subscribed. You lock in. We got to get it. David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback to my left. Blaine Crain, former Western State Colorado wide receiver to my right. And remember, in the comments, tell us, give us a score prediction. What do you think the score is going to be and why it's going to be that way? I want to start out by making sure I'm very, very clear on one thing. I do not think that Auburn is a bad football team.
Okay.
I do not think that Jackson Arnold is a bad quarterback. When I look at Jackson Arnold, and I think some people misconstrued this in the reaction because I said he was an average thrower of the ball. The reason I am saying that I think right now he is an average player is that if Auburn cannot run the ball, they will not score because he's not good enough to throw Auburn to a win.
So hold on, people pushed back on you saying he was an average thrower of the ball.
Well, they are saying
after
it
that
wasn't there. Some people, and not most, but some people were like, Jackson Arnold played fine. It's the offensive line's fault.
Really?
Yeah.
Who watched that game and thought that?
I'll tell you right now, you can zoom in on this. Jackson Arnold is an average thrower of the football.
He is, but he's an above average runner.
Sure.
He's an average thrower. That doesn't make you a bad player. That doesn't mean you can't become better in some of those facets. But right now, if Auburn does not run the ball well, they are not going to be able to consistently score points. And there's a lot of teams that are like that. But some teams have quarterbacks that can throw you to a win. I do not think Jackson Arnold can do that right now. And if you look at Auburn in that matchup against Oklahoma, that was the scariest part, was that they're not able to run the ball. But against A&M, this is a little bit of a different animal on defense. I think Auburn can run the ball with success, which should open up things in the pass game, which makes this matchup a little bit better, even though it's on the road. But David, if this man does not get rid of the ball in the pocket in a timely fashion, it does not matter because you can't block people for 6 seconds. Just like on defense. We can't cover guys for 6 seconds if you can't get to the passer.
Yeah, okay, so here's how I approach it. First off, he's a starting quarterback at Auburn. It's something that I've never done, right? He's playing football at a high level, and I try not to make definitive statements about a person that they are this or they are that. So like, you are an average thrower of the football. Okay, maybe that's not the best way to approach it. But what I'll say is, in that game, you were a subpar thrower of the football. If you take Peyton Manning, who I know for a fact definitively is a really great thrower of the football when he was in his prime, and he had that exact same performance against Oklahoma, I would say Peyton Manning played a bad football game. Yeah. And it wasn't just poor ball placement, missing open wide receivers after Cam Coleman runs a great double move route, but also holding the ball too long in the pocket. But that aside, your point, yes, that's what you're going to get unless Auburn can run the football. Now, they're not going to run the ball every game like they did against Baylor. 100%. You were given a gift with Baylor sitting in 2 high safeties, daring you to run the football for some reason, and you rush for over 300 yards. You're not going to get that. But the beauty of Hugh Freeze's offense, when we saw it at Ole Miss, when we saw it at Liberty, is this ability to build off of zone read schemes with a quarterback who makes the right decisions in power read, in traditional wide zone run schemes. You have to have success in that area for Jackson Arnold to have consistent success. Cam Coleman's such a freak athlete, he's going to get you out of trouble sometimes. And Jackson Arnold is a good enough thrower of the football. He's going to make great ball placement sometimes. That back shoulder throw to the field was beautiful. Can he do that every time? And Texas A&M on defense, what is their identity? I think there's a question mark there because I do think Auburn can run the football on this defense.
Well, and we're going to get to the A&M side in a second, A&M fans, calm down. But Blaine, on the Auburn side, what I was concerned, because I thought Hugh actually called a pretty good game. And again, nobody's perfect. Hindsight is always 20/20. But what I was surprised was when the interior run game wasn't working in between the tackles, they never went to a perimeter run game. Never tried it once, I believe, on counter and hit him on the outside. Tried the jet sweep, scored a touchdown at the end, and you never went back to it. So at some point, you have to try different things in the run game on the edge to maybe soften up the middle of that interior, because Oklahoma was just mashing everything down. You had heavy boxes. They were testing you on the outside. And they did exactly what I said they were going to do and make Jackson Arnold throw it to beat him. Will A&M do the same thing? Should they do the same thing? You've got to stop the run and make Jackson Arnold beat you with his arm. I don't know how that's not the plan.
It's crazy to say with the weapons that Auburn has on the outside that you're going to stack the box and make him beat you through the air with Cam Coleman, who
worked against Oklahoma,
who's a top 2 receiver, in my opinion, and Eric Singleton, who was born to beat man.
His ass got to get going, though.
Sure,
Singleton Jr.'s got to get going.
I didn't think he played great against Oklahoma, especially when it comes to yards after contact.
Yeah, you can't just keep running out of bounds.
But the big matchup in this Auburn A&M game is going to be a struggling offensive line for Auburn versus a struggling defensive line for Texas A&M. Who can win that battle? Obviously, Auburn is a better football team when they can turn around and hand it off to Cobb, and I do think Cobb's the back for Auburn.
Yeah.
I think he proved that against Oklahoma. Who can win that line?
It's pass pro with Cobb, though. That's the problem.
Sure.
Austin can pass pro.
Understand. Not only that, but Jackson Arnold with his legs. I think Jackson Arnold's an okay thrower of the ball. I think the best game he's had in his career in college was against Arizona. He threw for 350 yards in a bowl game. But other than that, Jackson Arnold's never lit it up through the air. Maybe that's not he is. He's a junior. Obviously, he can get better. But what it's going to come down to, one, is Mike Elko going to heat Jackson Arnold up? Right? It's not only bringing numbers in the box, but are you going to go get Jackson Arnold? Because that's not what Oklahoma did. Right? We can sit here and say you can't sit back in the pocket for 6 seconds, and we can't cover for 6 seconds, but apparently Oklahoma did because nobody was open. He got sacked at least 4+ times with 6+ seconds in the pocket. So obviously it's decision-making for Jackson Arnold. And when I look at the other side for Marcel Reed, even in the Notre Dame
he's got to be more efficient.
He put some balls in dangerous places, and this is a type of game. If Auburn was going to beat the Oklahoma, they had to play clean. From a turnover standpoint, they did, but the penalties were absolutely terrible. Which team is going to be more disciplined, and which team can win the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, and David, flipping it to the other side, the most surprising thing of the weekend for me was how Auburn was able to hold up against Oklahoma's offense.
It was incredible.
And we know that Oklahoma's offensive line has struggled to run the ball. I think A&M's kind of struggled to consistently run the ball as well. But Marcel Reed, like Mateer, can create in the backfield. You have Concepcion. Craver has been an absolute monster this year. We know A&M has weapons. Do you think this A&M offense can expose the Auburn defense the way that Baylor did if the run game isn't working? Because that was the difference. Baylor was throwing. They were throwing to run in reality. Well, Oklahoma wanted to run to throw, and that didn't work out. A&M, I think, can throw to run if they have to with Marcel. Boll & Branch Summer Pack schedule is done, and now it's about those solid fall weekends at the home that we love so much during football season. Catching games on the couch and actually getting some decent sleep. Sometimes the best investment is what helps you recharge Boll & Branch bed bundles. They're perfect for it. They create a sanctuary of comfort, effortless upgrade, and you'll get everything you need with the ease of a click. There's bundle options for every kind of refresh, from new sheets and blankets to complete transformation. Bundles for every kind of sleeper with curated bedding for your coolest, coziest, or softest night's sleep, made with the highest quality 100% organic cotton and durable designs and customizable colors. My wife loves it. We got the waffle blanket.
The waffle blanket.
Yeah, she wants to get 3 more of them. They're a hit at our house.
Yes.
Plus, it comes with a 30-night worry-free guarantee, so you can rest easy knowing you're covered. Boll & Branch makes upgrading your bed easier than ever with curated bundles for a sanctuary of comfort for a limited time. You can get 20% off the bed bundles at bollandbranch.com/booster. That's BOLLAND branch.com/booster to save up to 20%. Exclusions apply.
Well, I understand there's a lot of frustrations from Auburn fans this week, but still, the way you went on the road and performed against what I think is a really good Oklahoma team, there are things you can take from that game. I understand the defense, when it mattered most, allowed John Mateer to go take it and snatch that victory, but the way they held up, I was watching drive after drive after drive, blown away by this Auburn defense. Can you go on the road and do the same thing against Marcel Reed and really put him in a blender sometimes, maybe get him to turn the football over? And then on the flip side of that, on the offense, I know that we're sitting here criticizing a lot of things that Jackson Arnold did, but as poor as the performance was at times, he still led a 14-play, 75-yard drive for the go-ahead. I know it's in him. I know it's in that offense. So, look, there's a number of things that I'm looking at here. We talked about Auburn's ability to run the football is going to help Jackson Arnold. That's going to open things up. Their defense, are they capable on the defensive side of the football to put up that? Is that defensive performance who they really are? Yep. Or was that just a one-off because you got up for Oklahoma and the Heisman favorite, John Mateer. And then the last thing is the wide receiver play in this game. Think about the two guys Auburn's bringing in, Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton we talked about. But when you talk about Mario Craver and KC Concepcion, imagine Texas A&M being able to get Concepcion to transfer in, and he's not even your most productive wide receiver right now because Craver's the most productive in the country.
Well,
Insane.
how's Auburn's secondary going to approach this game? How's this game going to get called on defense? You can't sit back. You could sit in man coverage against Oklahoma. There's not a lot of wide receivers out there that scare you. In this game, you're not going to run a lot of man against Concepcion and Craver. There's no way they'll kill you.
Yeah, well,
and I don't think Auburn's doing a phenomenal job getting to the quarterback either.
No, it's stopping the run was a big thing. But again, A&M and Oklahoma are so different, or at least they've shown us to be totally different teams. The archetype and from a personnel standpoint, I actually do like the matchup a little bit better for Auburn, even though we know how tough it is to play out there at A&M and College Station. But to a point David made, and this is, we can talk about all the matchups and the personnel and all this. You brought up the main thing. And the main thing is this. What I've seen this year is that when A&M had to have it, game was on the line, on the road, at Notre Dame, 4th down, you made the play. And A&M has not been able to make that play since Johnny Manziel, which I think is a huge confidence boost for you going into the bye week where you're able to rest up. The biggest complaint I have with Hugh Freeze, it's not just that you kept Peyton Thorne for another year. It's not that it seems like you have another average thrower at quarterback that, has got to continue to develop when you had chances to go get another guy. It's that every time Auburn has a chance to step on somebody's throat and kill them, they blow it. They choke under Hugh Freeze. At what point does it stop? I literally, this morning, woke up, and I know we don't make our picks till Wednesday, saying, I like the matchup for Auburn. I think I might pick Auburn. But in the back of my mind, the highlight reel of them slipping on the banana peel when it matters the most just keeps going. Just keeps going. You can go back through Hugh Freeze's whole career at Auburn and go look. The only time they really came through was against A&M last year at home, and that's because A&M dropped a 2-point conversion. It wasn't that Auburn made a great play. The guy dropped the ball in overtime to lose the game. So as much as I would like the matchup for Auburn, it is going to be very hard for me to pick them because when it's all on the line, they find ways to lose games. All it takes is one time, though, to fix that. But I think A&M may have done that against Notre Dame.
And they did it twice. Remember, they took the kickoff back for a touchdown.
And it got called back.
And that was called back, and they said, fine, we'll lead a game-winning drive. They wanted it more than Notre Dame on 2 different occasions in that game.
And you could say Auburn came through, I guess, in that game against A&M.
Well, they blew a 21-point lead.
They were up 21-7 at halftime.
Well, it's just, again, every time, and it's either a identity culture issue within that Auburn team or it's a personnel issue. And maybe it's just having to, once again, lean on the younger guys. But when you have a defense that played so well throughout the game, then you got to get one stop, really. One stop. Maybe another. Oklahoma's going to have to use their timeouts. Auburn gets it back, punts it, whatever. You couldn't do it. On offense, when you got to go get a drive to score to win the game, you can't do it, or you haven't shown me the ability to do it. So regardless of what I want to happen, regardless of what I hope happens, I've seen one team come through when your nuts are on the line, and I've seen the other team curl up in a ball and cry and just hope the storm passes. And I can't get that image out of my head.
Well, the tough part about the we don't deliver in big moments narrative is it continues and gets exponentially louder each scenario you find yourself in where you don't deliver. And because Auburn's a good football team, they find themselves in a lot of close games. If you were just getting blown out every week, the narrative's completely different. But a point that you made, which is very true, and it's the flip side of that coin, is it really just takes one time of you going and snatching a game at the end, a game that truly matters. It just takes one time for that feedback loop to end, for that narrative 100%. To sort of dispel. Now, it can get started again, right? But it just takes one time for you to say, no, we actually are the team who can go snatch victory out of the jaws of defeat when it matters most.
Blaine, if you're this A&M defense, like, again, you look at that Oklahoma blueprint, and I don't think A&M is as talented as Oklahoma is pretty much anywhere. I know Auburn took advantage of a freshman corner, too, that was playing man the whole time. I thought they should have thrown it to Cam Coleman 10 more times against that.
And, I mean, Oklahoma's best defensive player was out.
For the first half. And you saw what happened when he came back in, and he drowned Auburn in a small puddle of water basically by himself. But if you're A&M on defense, do you just play that same game?
Why wouldn't you?
That's what I'm saying. If I'm Auburn, I think I know what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
I think I know what I'm going to get. If I'm A&M, I think I know what I'm going to get from Auburn's defense. It's going to be heavy man coverage, right? I think it's going to be something similar against a quarterback that can run once again, like Marcel Reed can run. I think we know what the look's going to be. It's just who can come through.
If I'm A&M, I'm walking this game I'm putting all the pressure possible on Jackson Arnold's shoulders.
But see, that doesn't mean you have to bring it, though.
No.
See, I'd show it sometimes. I'd show heavy box. I'd show pressure and get out of it. That's one of the reasons why he holds the ball so long. The few times that Oklahoma did that, that's when he's back there patting. But again, at what point do you tell Jackson Arnold, look, the first read ain't there, man, go. Against Baylor, that's what he was doing. Now, I know it was a different look defensively, but first read wasn't there. Working to my second, it's not there. I'm gone and I'm out of the gate. You're not Garrett Nussmeier, man. You're not good enough to sit back there and pick people apart and put balls in windows all the time that are incredible. At some point, you got to take on the fourth down. First read. You remember fourth down, 11? First read wasn't there. What do? Gone out the gate. You don't give that defensive line time to collapse on you, which is what happened on most of those sacks where he held the ball. There was nowhere to go. We can talk about the twists and the stunts and this, that, and the other, but it's not where you line up. It's where you wind up. That's what matters. So we feel like we know what the looks they're going to get. It's just which guy can come through and which run game. Is it as simple as which team runs the ball wins this game at the end of the day?
I mean, yeah, you can say that about a lot of football games. I will say this. I think Marcel Reed's legs could be a difference in this game. I think Marcel Reed's a lot better runner than, maybe not a lot better, but a better runner.
A different runner.
Right, quicker. I mean, he's longer. And another thing is, what is Hugh Freeze saying to Jackson Arnold this week? What do you say to a guy? Because is it you're sitting in the pocket too long, or do you get one read and you got to go? I mean, at the end of the day, you just have to play quarterback, man. You have to have feel sitting in the pocket. It's not, wow, I'm sitting back here long. Now I have to adjust and just go through one read and go. No, you just have to play quarterback. You need to go through your progressions. And that internal clock in your head, when that goes off, it's okay to just go extend the pocket a little bit, get outside and throw the ball away, right? You can live with that as a quarterback, but you can't take 12 sacks. You're not going to win a football game like that. And if you're an Auburn fan, just remember this. There's no reason to crash out yet.
For sure.
You just lost on the road from an Oklahoma team who had to run an illegal play and get something overturned to beat you. You can be fine. You can beat this Texas A&M team, but it all comes back to this, and we talked about this but before the season even started. I kept hearing Jackson Arnold's confidence. It's shot. Where's Jackson Arnold's confidence? It still needs to be there. It's just small adjustments. It's small adjustments. Play within the game plan and let Hugh Freeze, the QB guru, which everybody keeps telling me that, help you out and walk you through this football game.
Well, Cody, anything else? It should be a hell of a game.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll have another instant reaction right after this weekend that you can check out. Let us know in the comments again. What is the score of this game? Give us your prediction. Who wins and why? We can't wait for it. Huge slate this weekend. Hell, I love some of the games during the week as well, to be honest with you, when you look at some of the back half. But make sure you hit that like button, subscribe as well. We appreciate y'all. And the chances of us not being ready to watch another great weekend of college football, we're going. Gone.